Morning everybody, welcome to the SiteMate Webinar. Thank you for joining us this morning. Hope everybody's well. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We have muted people on the call just so people don't speak over each other. If you have got a question to ask, there is a function where you can just press raise hand. Raise hand, add messages in the chat and we'll be able to answer the questions as we go through. There'll also be a bit of a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. We're running at about 20 minutes, so it won't be taking up too much of your time, but hopefully you'll be able to get a good insight into what SiteMate can do and how it can benefit your business. So on the call this morning, there's myself, Finn Gregory. I'm the co-founder and director of Project Control Tools, and also we've got James Staines, who's the co-founder and director. I'll be running through the presentation and the demo. James will be running through the questions. As we said, feel free to raise your hand and ask any questions at any time.
Yeah, just guys, hi there. I'm James. Just fire away any questions as we go. You know, we want to hear your feedback as well, and obviously, you know, if you want to wait till the end, that's fine. I can mention your name, or you know, I can do it discreetly. It's
right. So why choose SiteMate? Just a bit of background into our business. We set up Project Control Tools about 2.5 years ago now, back in June 2017. Myself and James, I was a project manager. James was a safety advisor. I've worked in the rail industry for the last 13 years. James in a variety of industries. And whilst we were running the project together, we kept coming across the same issues over and over again. We were getting frustrated, and that's where SiteMate came up. It was kind of born out of frustration of issues with paperwork, issues with having everything in one place, issues with having the amount of time spent producing and then administrating that. And we just wanted to make it simpler so that the guys could really focus on delivering the projects rather than the distraction and the onerous paperwork which is involved in delivering these projects. So with SiteMate, some of the key functionality, it's one app with multi-functions. What we really wanted to do was have a one-stop shop for that project team, for that site team, to be able to access both on a mobile and back end, upload data to be able to get to site, and download data which is coming back from site really quickly, really efficiently. And you'll see in the demo the different areas we've tried to target to give benefits to everybody on the project. Another reason to choose SiteMate is industry knowledge. As we touched on earlier, we've got in-depth knowledge of the industries where we're really targeting SiteMate to work. We've actually been there, we've been on the front line, we've been in the management side, and we like to think that we understand fully how projects work, and by implementing our system, the benefits it could bring to your project. By having that knowledge, we also knew that a key factor when developing our app was it's got to be easy to use. We tried to implement a few systems prior on the project, and they were good in premise, but they were a bit clunky, and once the guys used them and they didn't work a couple of times, they just lost confidence in them. So that was our key focus when we were working with our developer. It's got to be easy to use, it's got to work, and we've got to get buy-in from the guys on the ground who are actually capturing the data from site. Another key point is it's inexpensive and quick to set up. Now, we could literally set you up on the system within a day, and you could be up and running and have your team working on that the following day. That's including training, implementation, and going live. Really quick to set up, really easy to get used to using, and really easy to implement within your business. So we have got an overview video which gives a good overview of the system, which we'll just go through now.
Just like to apologise about the quality of the video. Having a few issues, obviously, with the sound. Just to try and give a bit of running commentary. Obviously, you can kind of see how we're trying to integrate all levels of the site team, using kind of cloud-based technology with a web-based back-end system, which is access to a browser, supported with a mobile application, a mobile application to be used on site, where you can obviously deliver things like task briefs, do things like got things like close calls, like on the screen now. Also report from the functions on site and pick up things like snags, and basically bring all this information onto one cloud and allow this to create things like snag lists, allow this information to be accessed and notified and communicated throughout all levels of the project team. So obviously apologies about the sound again, but we are just finishing off here and we'll just continue with the live demo after that.
So we have issues with the sound there?
Yeah.
I heard you running through it anyway, James, and explain it, but we'll get into the detail now. We'll run through.
Yep, excellent. So I think, the proof's in the pudding. So, this is what we've kind of done this for. This is the live demonstration of the product. Just obviously give you an overview of kind of how it's built. It's built on via like a web application. So you just go into your mobile browser, your web browser. This makes it accessible from anywhere. That was the first key point, to make it very easy to use with other systems. Followed by the mobile application, which you can see in the right-hand side of the screen here. And obviously what we're going to show today, or what Finn's going to demonstrate, is how it works in between. And you can see the live kind of capabilities of the backend system and the mobile application working together. So we'll just pass over to Finn for the demo. And like I said, guys, any questions you have, please fire through. I know obviously it's been general information so far, so please, any questions, I'll stop you, Finn, and we'll take any questions as they go. Okay.
Excellent. So on the left-hand side of the screen, we've got the menu, projects. So this will be where you'd set up your portfolio of projects for your company, where you add employees to the system, adding users to the system. You've got the ability to configure your system. So here you can choose your company logo, choose your company coloring, and that will disseminate throughout all your forms, all your reports. So everything will be systemized like that. We've then got the site forms creator, which I'll go into a little bit more detail a little bit later on. And then we've got the email functionality. Again, we'll go into this in a little bit more detail later on. So looking at an example project, as you can see along the top in the yellow, we've got key functions which mirror that on the mobile phone screen you can see. So firstly, we'll talk about the site pack. Now, the amount of time spent on projects in terms of engineering, putting together packs for weekend works, for core works, for the following week's works, you've got an engineer spending at least a day and a half every week getting this stuff together, printing out the packs and getting them ready for that works. And that really takes their focus away from the important stuff, delivering the works. So what we've tried to do here is make it as quick and simple to be able to get information to site in an efficient way using the technology on the application. So you can see the file structure of the backend system mirrors that on the mobile system. So for example, we look at design drawings in here. We've got a various filing system. I click on design drawings on the mobile and I've got access to that. So we'll open up a design drawing. This is ideal for long sections. You imagine you're installing some S&C, you've got 2.5 meter long drawings. It's raining, or worse than that, you forget one at the site office and you've got to go back and then come to site. This gives you the ability to have all the information related to that site at your fingertips. Just to show you how quickly you can upload data. So for example, on a Friday, you had a late design change and you had to remove the existing drawings on the system and put on the new drawings. This is how simple it is. So we select a document, we drag it onto the system. It appears on here. I refresh my site pack and I've now got that document on my mobile device. So that is how quick it is. It's also worth noting, you can see the cloud next to the files on the mobile application. If you know you're going to be going into an area with no signal, you can download these documents and access them offline. So just in terms of other things you can put on there, staging diagrams, program of works, work package plans, for example. Try going WPPs, I can get the guys understanding that. Really gives you flexibility, especially in this time when we're going to be doing a lot of remote working. Gives you that ability to get information to site extremely quickly. So the next function we'll go on to is briefings. Now this can be used for multiple activities. It can be task briefings, toolbox talks, safety alerts, inductions, anything really which you need to go to site, which requires a signature and a sign off and a briefing record of arrangements, you can put onto SiteMate.
We do have a question, Finn. The question is relating to the site pack. It's about how the files can be introduced into different projects and how the user gets either information relating to his project or kind of generic information. So obviously, the user won't want to get all the information on the site pack. So how does he only get information related to his project?
Okay, so as we said earlier, you can set up your project portfolio on here. What we then do for each user, they have their own profile relating to them. So we'll go on to me. Go on to James Staines. And what we can do with James, we can select multiple projects. So these are all the projects within the portfolio. However, James is only working on 3 projects selected. What that looks like on the mobile application, you've got the project function, which is the little cog. I can select, I'm only assigned to the test project at the minute, but I would be able to select from individual projects, which would then pull up the data for that project only. So you're not inundated with all the project information for every project within the portfolio.
Excellent. So just say, for example, a manager overseeing maybe multiple projects can basically on the mobile device, also on the back end as well, be able to jump in between projects and get information specific to that project.
Exactly, yeah. So this is ideal for smaller companies where you've got a site manager or a construction manager who are working on multiple projects. They might be working on something midweek, but then have to go out on a Saturday night on one of their other projects. So they'd be able to flick between the projects very easily, pull that information which is relating to the individual projects, and they've got a system to manage everything.
Excellent. Excellent, thank you.
Thanks for the question, guys. Keep them coming in. So on to briefings, as we touched on. I'll run through a task briefing on the mobile application. So we've got the list which mirrors that on the backend system. So I can select that. I press start. That actually starts a timer, which we'll go through when we've got the completed briefing. I then go through the brief the team on that. Once I've done that, I press complete. This then takes me to the signature page. Now what we can do, you can pre-populate your employees in this section. What would happen then, they come down on a drop-down box. So I've got myself here. I add another, James. If they're not on there, you've also got the ability to add them to the briefing straight away. So we'll add Stephen, add. You've also got the ability, if we've got their employee details and their Sentinel cards, we can actually link their user profile to their QR code on their Sentinel. So it's just a case of scanning them in. Really trying to speed up the process. Once complete, I'm the user who's undertaken the briefing, and then sign it off, complete the document. What you end up with now, rather than having to wait for the end of the shift the end of a weekend, you have access to that briefing straight away when the website loads back up.
We do actually have another question in the meantime, just related to the task briefings. Obviously it's one of the reasons that the paper system works quite well is that that when you sign the briefing, that you've obviously got that there. So what kind of proof have you got, like that you've actually got the briefing kind of signed and delivered? Because obviously the back end is not going to be accessible on site.
Yeah, so this was some feedback we got quite early on from clients. It's all well and good having the signed briefing being able to be accessed on the back-end system, but what is the proof if Network Rail or the client were coming out to review your completed briefings? How would you prove that you briefed the guys? So what we added in the site report, in the site pack, sorry, is once the task briefing is completed, it becomes a folder called task briefs, which you access. And then you've got the ability to view the completed briefings within here. So this one, you've got dates. So we can see here the 3rd of the 4th. That's the one, 9:15 we completed. So I can view that. That pulls up all the signatures which were added there. So perfect for an on-site audit. You've got proof that the people have been briefed on the risks and the work you're undertaking.
Excellent. So completely electronic.
100%. So on completed task briefings, you can see here with the 10:14, you can see the duration as well. So you can see, you can tell straight away the quality of the briefing which has been given. I've then got access to this nice clean PDF document. You've got no risk of it being driven off up the M1 after the shift. James, I know this is a particular bugbear of yours from being a safety advisor, isn't it?
Yeah, well, generally the first thing as a safety advisor, if there is ever an incident on site, is to get the task briefing. It's the start key document. You know, it shows, you know, all the information that's been given to that person, and if he obviously unfortunately gets injured or is involved in an incident, you know, that first thing we'll look at is has he received that information for the day, and having issues with it being lost or damaged or maybe half kind of like mangled in a supervisor's van, you know, was very, very common. Just, and obviously the gathering in and the scanning in of the data was very laborious, and effectively what this task briefing would do is just cut the time like you know, a lot of time taken away from such a key, but you know, what should be a quick and efficient exercise as well.
What it would also allow you to do, you'd be able to see in real time the briefings which have been undertaken. So if you're a site manager or a construction manager and you've got various work parties working within your work site, you'd be able to log onto the system in the morning. You knew that the guys started work at 7:30. You'd be able to see, log on at 8 o'clock and see that everybody had been briefed. And if not, it gives you the perfect opportunity to be ringing your supervisors and saying, and I've just checked the system, how come you guys haven't been briefed? It gives you that information.
Well, we've got a question on there. Yeah, we do. Can you record briefings?
As in verbally,
as in
or
audio recording? I think, yeah, audio.
Not at the minute, but however, we are looking into that's the next stage of the task briefings.
Excellent.
Recording.
Because it was I do remember about Network Rail obviously maybe looking to do this, so we obviously you know, keep aligned with kind of like common trends of gathering information, and obviously this is a product which is you know, moving very fast along with features as well.
Yeah, so unfortunately at the minute we don't have the ability to record the briefing, but we are looking at that within the next round of development. As we know, working with Network Rail standards and the recording of safety comms is becoming more and more key, and actually revising the standard around that. It was meant to be out in March, but it's actually being pushed to around September. So we are working to have things in place prior to that deadline.
Excellent.
So on to the next feature, which is the site report feature. Now, this you can see along the top here, we've got close calls on here, snagging, resources. What you've also got here is the ability to be able to tailor your report requirements for each individual and each role. So you can have different questions for an engineer, foreman, supervisor. So you've got the ability to tailor that. This can also be tailored to program deliverables for your plan versus actuals. So what you see on the mobile application is I would add the report. We've got a nice layout here, big buttons, easy to press, site report, close calls, snags, resources, and notes. So I'll click on site reports. I've got questions which I can answer. I can add times. I can add photos. And quite easily answer close out my site report.
We do have a question just about the online capabilities, Finn. Obviously, I think a lot of the demonstrations obviously have been kind of the interaction in the real time aspect of it. Can you just kind of go into the kind of the offline capabilities if we are working in remote areas?
Yeah, so for remote areas, if you're working on the underground as well, all our forms, all our reports are available to access offline. You'll be able to complete forms, reports offline, and then what happens as soon as you had any signal, any 3G, it auto syncs, and that data is then taken back up into the back-end system.
Just another side question that's popped up just because of that, the data usage. Does it have high data usage when using the app?
No, we've tried to minimize the size of the files. So when you're taking photos and whatnot in your forms and your reports, they are small file sizes, just to try and eliminate the data usage around that.
Yeah, we've especially with things like photos and things, we've minimized, to really get the balance between quality of photo and obviously the ability to process that kind of data as well. So it's all minimized to its kind of capacity there, and obviously it's transferred with very little connection required.
Yeah, 100%. So in terms of close calls, everybody's used to seeing these close calls, near misses in construction industry. Very generic template, so your location, your event type, you can add photos, the description of the events, conditions, possible consequences, immediate actions taken, and suggestions to prevent reoccurrence. What we have done on here is you can edit your event types, so you can really drive into the detail of the trends from your safety issues on site. Again, this can be tailored at the start. The snags or defects, and again, ideal if you're doing a TOC walkout with a client, really helps with the AMP process. You can pick up your snag list, and then as we go through, you have location, photos, details of that defect, who is to close it out as well, and the priority. So at this point, you can actually assign an action owner, and that pops up on their open snags, and they know that they've got that snag to close out. I think this is a big bugbear of mine. You don't tend to price for having to go back and do defect and snag correction. And I've been on a couple of projects where it's really at the end of the project where you think you've done, these come back to bite you. Having to remobilize, having to bring guys back to site to close out snags is a big cost which you don't forecast, and it comes straight off the profit margin. And that's what we're trying to do: maximize that profit margin as much as possible with our system. We've also got resources function, so this is used for plan the actuals. In terms, this can be plant, this can be labour, this can be anything really. What this allows is a notification to be sent to the commercial team every morning or every night after the shift's complete, and they get a view of any variances. Rather than waiting for your weekly reports, your bi-weekly or your period reports, you've got that data in real time, and you can make really proactive decisions rather than having to be reactive. And then we've got the notes function on there. So for example, we have a client visit, asked to see completed ITP. We have photos on there as well. Once you've gone through that, the beauty of this is it's capturing data in real time, and it's a contemporary record. There's nothing worse than working a long 12-hour shift and having to go back to the office at the end of the day and write your report. What this allows you to do is write the equivalent of 4 or 5 text messages throughout the shift about the information and the what's happening on site, the progress, and you don't have to go to the office at the end of the shift and write a full report. It's all done for you. So once I've completed each section, I would select submit. I would sign this off. And that document is submitted. What we've also worked on is the ability to be able to email that report out to various people. So I'll show you how the distribution lists work on the back end. So if we look at emails, every user who's added to the system is created in a user profile here. What we've also got is distribution lists. So we can add client-specific projects and a couple of members of the team. For example, if it's engineering and you want engineering data back to certain people, you can set that up. So on the mobile phone now, we can see the email function. I press add. I press distribution list. I'll put it to the PWay team or the project team. Add. Send. That's been sent. The completed report can be viewed here. See the data, and all this can be exported into CSV and downloaded into your internal project files. You can see your close calls. So this could act as your close call register. You can select date from and to. This is ideal for your health and safety help guys. Similar with snags, this basically produces a project snag list. You can see you've got priority, you've got status. We go into this snag here. We can assign an action owner. So once that's saved, I go into open snags, and that snag has been assigned to me. I can then go to site.
And again, all exportable to CSV. That's just another question that's kind of run through. Obviously, how do you get the data off the system? Again, all these lists, all the reports can be transferred in that format as well. Obviously, that can feed into the systems if required.
Yeah, it's just giving you that ability to access the data required and make use of it. So you can see the snag I've just closed is now reported as closed. So what we'll move on to now is the Site Forms Creator. This is a quite new feature on SiteMate, and we're taking feedback from client bases. And this really gives the ability to give something bespoke and tailored to each individual client's needs. So what you can do with the Site Forms Creator is build simple checklists, simple forms, simple inspections, and it can be tailored to your individual requirements. So I'll show you how easy it is to knock one up now. Checklist. You can add sign off. So this could be either your senior guys on site need to sign it off, or you need a client sign off. Then publish the form. We can select which project it's on. It might only be specific to one. Then what we can do, we can add headings and spelling. Add questions. And then you can select whether it's a tick box for yes, no, not applicable, whether you want to add notes, whether you want to have photos, a date and time, and signatures. Once that's saved, they're available to complete on the back end. So if we log back into the project, Site forms. You can see the list of forms which have been assigned to that job. You can look at completed. So just complete one on the mobile. So I go on site forms, select add. I'll do test. This is how it appears on the form. Very simple, very easy to use. Not applicable. Notes in there. I can have photos again. Can have up to 5 photos as well. Yes, yes, yes. Submit. So that is now uploaded. Again, you've got the ability to, so we can see it's come through at 10:31, instant like that. So you're not waiting on people to come back, scan this in and pull the data from it. It is there instantly. Again,
yeah, just from a safety advisor's point of view, you know, getting people to do safety inspections and gathering in that data. You know, this was one of the ideas that we had to try and make it easy for the guys to be able to complete all these tasks, and having all of this, the ability to be able to receive that information on the mobile in such speed and in such quality just really allows that communication to vastly improve by actually having the guys not go back to the office. You can actually really keep the guys on site delivering the works, delivering the right information to them, and really takes a lot of the need for the face-to-face kind of conversations which generally take place to try and gather this kind of key information.
Cool. So that's kind of an overview of the system, the back end and the mobile. Hopefully you can see how we've really focused on being easy to use, easy to navigate your way around, and easy to access the data once it's been completed. So what we'll do, we'll go back into...
Question on the form, Bill. This is can you build ITPs on there?
Yeah, you can build inspection and test plans on there. Hopefully you've seen from the quick demo how easy it is to configure, how easy it is to set up your inspections. So yeah, the world's kind of your oyster. What we're looking at in the next release is having tables on there and embedding images into those forms as well, just to kind of polish it off. What that will give is the ability to complete as-built surveys quickly, rather than having to book it and then retype the information at the end of the shift. You've got that information straight away and you can export it into where it's required.
We've just had a question just on efficiencies, just on how productivity is affected by kind of use of this kind of technology. From our clients and from kind of research from construction software, we find like about between a 10 and 15% increase in a very short space of time, relating from using digitalization compared to kind of paper-based systems. So hopefully that just gives you an idea of the efficiencies and the time that can be saved. And you know, you can't really, you know, get over how much time can be saved in relation to, you know, how much time is taken up by trying to get this information or trying to complete this information or deliver this information. It can be quite a lot of time taken up during the day.
Definitely. It's all about having the ability to be able to, for the guys to focus on the most important tasks, rather than having the distraction of all the things which go with it. And that's what we really try to focus on, and with the outputs we get from the system.
Yeah, and the roles have developed. You know, supervisor roles have developed, site manager roles have developed. They're taking on a lot more. They need to be more efficient, and they need to have also kind of new skills as well. And this allows them to be able to complete it, or be able to complete that information, be able to complete that critical role without having to take a lot of time to develop these skills because of the ease of use of the system.
100%. So that leads us nicely onto benefits. So we touched on it there, time. So you're saving a lot of time on paperwork, both producing it, printing it, the administration of it, and you've really got that ability to focus on the delivery of the project. You've got cost savings, so you're driving efficiencies, as James touched on, about 15%, between 10 and 15%, reducing admin, paperwork collation, report collation, and a lot of other areas of managing the project.
Sorry, Finn, just put that 10-15% in perspective of wages on the project. It's just, you know, the huge costs on general projects is just the manpower, and just having efficiencies within these key personnel will really drive these jobs on, more progress, better delivery, hitting budgets, getting there on time, and this is what SiteMate's about.
Yeah, 100%. And quality as well. With the form builder, you've been able to capture any quality issues, get rid of them quickly, rather than having to come back once you've kind of demobilized, having to remobilize again to do snagging at a high cost. You're keeping a track of that as your project goes on, and managing that a lot better, and that's reducing a huge costs. And it also enhances your reputation with your clients as well.
Yeah, obviously the ticking innovation boxes is kind of key, especially kind of on tenders. But just to go back about kind of the amount of time spent from the project management side, report, data gathering for reports. I spent a lot of my time, for my monthly safety meetings, gathering up all the key information on site, trawling through close calls. Finn, I imagine from a project management side, kind of going through the costings, going through the plan B actuals, putting all this kind of against kind of your kind of plans again. This took a lot of time to kind of gather this information for key reports. And it's just with the click of a button, with our kind of search features, with our export to CSV, makes it very, very easy to create these, and you're saving like almost a day, a month sometimes in some roles, just within data gathering.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well that all the information you collate and export to CSV, we can put into analytics for you. We can create dashboards, and you can really see that information, how people want to see it at a high level. The system gives visibility. What tends to happen if you've got different disciplines working on a project, they might be working in their own individual silos. What SiteMate allows is everybody to access one system, pull information from it, upload information to it, and you've got a central hub for that project and for your business. And then another one, ease of use. We keep going over and over and over it again, but that was a massive focus on what we've tried to do. Getting the guys buying to use new software anyway is difficult enough. If it's difficult to use, they're just going to stop using it. So hopefully you can see from what we've developed, it's easy to use, and it will bring massive benefits to the guys on the ground and your project teams. In terms of pricing and return on investment, so what we tend to do in terms of implementation, there's a couple of options. We'd either come to you guys and do training for a day. We normally do this in about groups of 8, so it's not diluted. We train the trainer as part of this, and this is £500. Or we could do something more remotely, like what we're doing today, where we would get groups of people in, or provide videos of the training and technical support via screen share, and that's a little bit cheaper. That's £250.
Just a quick question, we've got one there. Would it be possible to do an implementation during kind of the current climate?
Yeah, 100%. We could, like we touched on, we're doing a lot of Zoom calls, we can access Skype, we can access Teams. So it's very simple. I know I touched on it earlier. We could implement from an order within a day. We could set up training via screen share. We could get everybody set up on the system. We actually did this last week with a new client who we've onboarded. We implemented StoresMate, our other products, the week before. We showed them SiteMate at that meeting. They were really keen to get going and using it. Unfortunately, due to COVID and the lockdown, we couldn't see them face to face. What we did training over screen share, got all the guys set up, and they are absolutely loving it, loving the system. They've got about 25 users in there. They're a small business. They've got about 25 users who are doing all the reporting, all the site forms, all the inspections, all the briefings, everything through SiteMate. So yeah, within this climate, we can 100% accommodate that.
Excellent. That really covered a question as well about the turnaround as well. This literally was, I think we implemented StoresMate 2 weeks ago, literally, and then obviously COVID-19 kind of dropped. We've had the communication about them wanting to use SiteMate, and all this was done in a very, very kind of short space of time. So we can certainly accommodate the current climate, and also turnarounds and things kind of aren't affected as well. Obviously there is interest for kind of obviously a further demo, kind of obviously introduction. We're obviously available for those meetings as well. And we obviously here to try and obviously help during kind of this kind of situation as well.
Definitely. We're looking at different ways to to help people. I know, especially the rail and construction industry, everybody's being classed as key workers, which is great, but it's thinking of different ways to be able to get that information to and from site, and hopefully by doing things what we're doing and getting stuff like this out there, it can really help in the current situation.
Yeah, like a lot of these site, a few of the site teams that do work from home. Some of the project teams, obviously getting that information, even if it's via the site office or working from home to site, with a product like SiteMate makes it a lot easier. In fact, it makes it the process just very simple, and that's something which within this current situation can really benefit.
So thanks for that, James. In terms of license fees, we have a couple of options. We do offer an initial 30-day free trial. We set that up with about 10 users, just to try and get everybody bought in, using the system on a day-to-day basis. And then upon successful trial, we base it around the size of your business. If you're a large company and you're doing it on a project basis, it's $750 per month per project. For smaller contractors, for SMEs, we do a per user option. We're quite flexible on the price. We can kind of work around it to suit your business requirements.
Yeah, I think we try and keep as much flexibility within the price, and just because of the different types of clients we try and cater for. Certainly an excellent system for kind of an SME, one who needs something that does a wide variety of functions, can be a portal to keep all the documents in one place, or obviously catering to kind of your large companies potentially who either work in silos or work as a big organization. We really can cater for all types of companies, from tier 1s to PCs to SMEs.
Definitely, that's it. We understand it's not a one size fits all with the pricing, and we will work with you to get the best and most efficient pricing to suit your business requirements. So I know people have been raising their hand and asking questions throughout, and I appreciate that. But is there any kind of final questions? Has anything come through, James?
Yeah, well, we've obviously had quite a few questions kind of covered, kind of within the pricing. We've got just kind of inquiries just on how kind of large organisations would kind of work, and how the pricing would affect on kind of an enterprise rate.
Yeah. We are pretty flexible. We have got an enterprise rate as well. If you've got more than 5 projects, we class you as an enterprise package, but it's a reduced rate per project. So that's how we kind of do it. But for them, we'd have to have an individual discussion based around that to really drill down on the costs.
Obviously, another one is that it's we are not just tailored to rail. It's obviously construction, kind of engineering, kind of obviously civils as well. So the software is very kind of it can be really turned over in any kind of industry, especially with similar processes. Just there is a bit of a real feel just purely because of our background there. So just to give an overview.
It can fully be tailored to whether it's construction, civil engineering projects, highways, anything really where you've got similar processes. So yeah, definitely.
No, but that's it. So yeah, just obviously thank you, Finn. Thanks for all the questions as well. Any further information, please get in touch. Obviously our details are on here. We will be continuing. We will be doing more webinars on our different products as well. We do have a few more, so please check out our website, check out our LinkedIn page for all the details about that. We obviously directly contactable for face-to-face, whether that be Zoom, Teams, Skype. We certainly can cater for all types of kind of hosting systems. Like I said, let us know your thoughts as well within the feedback as well today. Obviously on the presentation, love to hear your thoughts as well, and obviously just thanks for your time in general.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you guys, and appreciate you all calling in and for the questions. And as James said, our details are there. We've got your details from registering, so we can send you out information about SiteMate and our other products too. And look forward to hearing from you.
Excellent. Well, excellent. Thank you.